all of a sudden I heard a loud crash that came back from there downstairs.
And the photo literally it didn't just fall, it just jumped off the wall. It came out and hit the floor, and she almost went with it.
Yeah.
God, what the crap?
What's up?
Holy crap.
What's up?
I just saw somebody standing on the stairs with me.
Alabama is full of ghost stories.
There's just not too many places you can go in our state without hearing tales of the strange, the paranormal, and the macabre.
But are these stories true?
Our crew will travel to these reportedly haunted locations to learn their history and investigate their claims.
Our goal is to determine if there is any truth to the ghost stories that haunt our state.
But will we be prepared for what we may find along the way? Tonight, the Alabama's Most Haunted crew investigates the 1880's Josephine Hotel, located in Union Springs. Many people have had paranormal experiences here over the years, and it only makes one wonder. Have many of the guests who checked in over the years ever truly left?
People also claim to have seen a woman in this window. Could this be Josephine herself?
One story in particular is that this very piano has been heard on numerous occasions playing by itself.
Our crew will also be investigating the Pauly Jailhouse, where phantom voices and footsteps can be heard. Are these the inmates who are still waiting for their freedom to this day?
Join our crew as we investigate the Josephine Hotel, the Pauly Jailhouse, and this very Confederate cemetery we stand now. Who knows, maybe you'll even see one of the many spirits that haunt Union Springs.
It had only been a few months since our last investigation. While doing research online, we came across tales of paranormal activity at the 1880's Josephine Hotel, located in Union Springs. We contacted the owner of the building, Joyce Perrin, and set up an overnight investigation of the old hotel. She also helped us secure investigations of the Pauly Jailhouse and the Confederate Cemetery. We had no idea when we made the call that we would get to investigate 3 out of several haunted locations in Union Springs. We hit the road and met up with Joyce at the hotel, where she began to tell us about a few of the spirits who roam there, including Josephine herself, who has been spotted standing at one of the second-floor windows, waving at passersby.
But the rooms are identical on the second and third. Most of this stuff that, most of the ghost hunters stay on the second. You can go to the third, but you got to be careful. There's no lights up here. I have lighting there that you can pull, and that's about it. This chain here. There's some light here. So you have to be careful when you're up here. There's some natural street light at night. But the old staircase back here is where Jefferson was. Now Jefferson is a real flavorful character. And we didn't know for a long time who Jefferson was. But there was a Jefferson in the family. There actually were two. There was a father and his son. And they're both very famous Civil War people. And the father in particular is real famous. He's from Kansas and a lot of abolition stuff. And he was very outspoken. And you can find him all over the internet. But anyway, Jefferson has talked a time or two, and he was on this landing. And there's been 3 others, and I can't remember their names. I'd have to ask and see. But there's been 3 others.
After speaking with Joyce about the hauntings of the hotel, we called in Faith Seraphin of Alabama Ghost Hunters to talk to her about some of the experiences she has had there with her crew. We're here with Faith Seraphin, and how long have you been a paranormal investigator?
Going on about 25 years now.
25 years.
Yeah, long time.
Wow. And, we take it you've investigated the Josephine before. Do you know about how many times you've investigated here?
I probably can't count on my fingers and toes how many times we've investigated the Josephine. But several times, along with other places in Union Springs.
Yeah, it seems like it's a pretty active paranormal town around here. I hear a lot of stories. So do you always catch activity here, or is it just kind of a hit and miss?
Well, since you brought it up.
We're here. So do you always catch activity here, or is it just kind of a hit and miss?
Well, yeah, and apparently they're listening. Cue the ghost. Yeah, we, as you can tell, we get a lot of activity on a regular basis. We've never been disappointed investigating the Josephine. One, for the history, and 2, just for the things that we typically uncover. The way we investigate is a little unusual, but it's not totally unorthodox for the paranormal community. As historians, we kind of look for the history that might back up our paranormal claims. And it doesn't necessarily make it more real so much as it just may be based on something a little bit more factual.
Yeah, it just kind of makes them clash more with each other.
Well, we like to think of these spirits, as human.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to be somebody, so we like to kind of keep them in that realm.
Faith then went on to describe one of the most terrifying experiences she had at the Josephine with us. We were reading online and heard several stories that you had a pretty unsettling account here with a painting flying off the wall, or...
Actually, it was a photograph.
Yeah,
it's a photograph right over there on the wall. We were here doing an investigation. This was really early on when we first started coming here. And we were all actually in this room. And as we were kind of packing up our things for the night, we didn't have a really eventful night that night. It seemed to be a little less active than usual. But while we were packing all of our stuff up, one of my investigators was standing literally next to this photograph on the wall, and it is the photograph of the Josephine. And we were talking, and I don't remember the exact conversation, but it did have context involving the history of this building. And the photo literally it didn't just fall, it just jumped off the wall. It came out and hit the floor, and she almost went with it. I mean, it was definitely heart attack worthy.
Hopefully we'll catch some of that tonight.
The painting, the photograph, not the heart attack.
Yeah, not the heart attack.
You don't want to be a ghost here.
True.
Well, I mean, maybe you do. It's a hotel.
Well, it's pretty nice,
Right.
It's free rooms.
Yeah.
Rent free. It work out.
Coming up.
He just moved.
How do you feel about people coming to your grave?
If there's anyone in here, can you please move this pole?
We were starting to get very excited about our investigation. Kayla had went up to the second floor as we wrapped up interviews. That's where she had her first experience of the evening.
I was sitting here on this couch, and I was looking at a video on my camera, and I could hear them talking downstairs. And then all of a sudden, I heard a loud crash that came back from there downstairs. And I thought it was just them, and maybe they went down back that way. But after that, I asked them, and they said they didn't hear a loud crash or anything.
After Kayla's experience, we followed Joyce to the Confederate Cemetery, where she told us all about those who are buried there. From there, we made our way to the Pauly Jailhouse, where Joyce began to tell us some interesting history on the location.
Several people have had Red talk to him. And he was the first black sheriff. I think his name is Red Williams. I've got something on him I'm going to give you. Okay. But he used to be the sheriff, first black sheriff here. And he's talked to him a time or two. And then we've had some others talk to him. Yeah. And then we've had some people have some physical experiences down here with these people.
Stepping inside the Pauly jailhouse was like stepping back in time. There was an ominous silence all throughout the old jailhouse, as Joyce shared a lot of its history with us, including the hangings that took place there.
This is going to be the trap door here above us. I think that's the trap door. Yep. No, here it is. This trap door.
The hangings?
That's the hangings from the third.
Yeah, that's the...
Yep. And then they have another area. This is all, prison population areas. This is where they ate. And then they have where the guy can stand up here and see us. So anyway.
Oh, no.
No. That's interesting. And believe it or not, it was used up until around 1990, I think.
Joyce continued to give us the tour, telling us about those who were incarcerated in the jailhouse, as well as how they were treated back in the day. After learning the history of the jailhouse, we cut back to the cemetery and prepared for nightfall to begin our 3-part investigation of the Josephine. But before that, however, we had to give a little screen time to our new member for the night. If you happen to see this guy during the night, don't worry, he's just a dummy. Though some people have claimed to see him move, and our producer actually had his arm move earlier while he was filming it. So I guess we'll go through the night and hope he doesn't come to life and decide to strangle all of us. If he does, as long as he goes for Jonathan first and we can get away, we'll be alright. I hope.
He just moved.
Alright, so we have here these dominoes of an assorted variety of color, unfortunately. But we're going to set these around the house, the jail cell, perhaps even the cemetery. And since they make a good sound whenever they clank against wood and they fall over, then we should be able to hear it from anywhere in the house.
We have these wind chimes as a trigger object to see if anything will mess with it in this room.
Yeah, And we use bouncy balls like this blue one and this purple one right here, and we'll place them around certain objects or areas, for example like these staircases, and if something comes through, it'll trigger it and most likely make the ball either bounce down the stairs. That's what we're hoping for, at least.
Alright, here we have a ballerina box. It is a music box. We use this as a trigger object for spirits who like music boxes. And it only plays music when it is opened. And I will show you. Alright. See? That's only when it's open. It won't play it if it's closed. So we're going to use this to try and trigger the spirits in the Josephine Hotel.
So we have here a little toy piano. We'd like to use it as a trigger object as well. And just walking through the Josephine, we've seen some pretty creepy rooms, but we came across this room with a little small crib and some form of bassinet maybe. I'm not exactly sure what that is. So we're going to leave the toy piano in here, just in case there's any children's spirits that would like to play with it. We're also going to leave a couple of dominoes around here and an audio recorder at some point tonight, just to see if we catch anything.
I'm not comfortable with this at all. Oh no.
Alright, we're investigating some sounds.
Yes. Oh gosh.
We keep hearing sounds coming from back here. Loud crashing noises. We got them on film.
Yeah.
And it was not Joyce, because she said, there's nothing down here.
With the sun quickly setting on Union Springs, Joyce sat down with us once more to give us a little more insight into the history and the hauntings of the building.
And Taps, I don't know if y'all read about that. There's 3 stories about the man who wrote Taps, okay? And each one of them, these are the 3 names and the 3 stories. And this one right here has to do with Union Springs. They've not proven any of them. So, anyway, I gave you the, because this was sent to me by someone that was kin to him.
Oh, okay.
Now, he's supposed to be the one that is buried underneath the church over there, okay?
The red door?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He's supposed to be the one there. And we've got a bone around here somewhere. When they were doing the, they added a bathroom underneath there. And one of the people around here, we knew there were some people buried under there. They found the bone and they took it out.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the bone is, but there's a bone missing, probably from this guy.
Okay, we're about to take a little break, go grab some food. We have yet to officially begin our investigation tonight. We've heard a lot of stories about the 2nd floor involving this gentleman right here and the piano, so we're just going to leave this camera recording while we're gone and see if we catch anything.
Hopefully we'll catch that wind chime over there above that, or below that light.
Yeah, below the light there's a wind chime, so hopefully we'll catch something while we're gone. But we're going to get a snake a bite to eat and we shall return.
Then we'll get this investigation going.
After Joyce's last history lesson, she left for the night. As we left this camera recording in the hotel alone for over an hour, we had no idea what we would catch on it.
Coming up.
I can pick up your voice if you would like to speak into it.
You are glowing like there's no tomorrow. Look at them teeth. Pearly whites. Oh my gosh!
You okay?
Yeah. I just walked into a spider web. Oh my goodness, hopefully nothing got on me. Have you gone down here yet?
It had already been a very exciting day in Union Springs. As night fell on the Josephine, we left this camera recording on the second floor as we grabbed a bite to eat. Before we even left the hotel, however, we caught something on our camera's audio we can't explain. At this point, we had made our way downstairs and shut the door to the second floor. Our camera's audio picked up what sounds like a little girl saying, "I want to go home." Neither Rachel or Kayla remember saying this. Once again, our crew was still in the building, but downstairs away from the camera. We're not saying for sure this is paranormal. We'll let you decide. During our time away from the hotel, the camera also picked up these strange clicking sounds. We wondered what these clicking sounds were. It wasn't until I sat down to edit this episode that I found out what it was. When I play the collection of clicks in a sequence, you'll notice that the camera angle moves ever so slightly. Those popping sounds were the sounds of the camera being turned very slowly on the tripod. We also captured the sound of heavy footsteps moving throughout the hotel, as well as doors opening on their own. We also captured what sounds like a man saying hello, and what we can best describe as some kind of growl. The strangest thing to happen, however, was something turning the camera off, and then turning it back on moments before our crew returned to the hotel. You can also hear a female voice speaking before the camera is turned off, but at this time, the hotel was vacant.
All right, tell me what just happened, Kevin.
Okay, basically, we were going to go grab a bite to eat, and I figured while we were gone, I would set a camera up on a tripod film in the hallway. And you hear me and Jonathan turn the camera on, explain that we're going to go grab a bite to eat, and you hear us walk off, plain as day, just footsteps, door down there. Well, we just got back a few minutes ago, and when I came to check the camera, it was still recording, so I stopped it, went back to see the clip, and the clip was only 6 minutes and 47 seconds long, even though we were gone for close to an hour. So I did a little bit more looking into the camera, and from what I can tell, it seems like something turned the camera off, stopped it from recording at the 51-minute mark on the first clip, and then turned it back on 6 minutes before we got here. And there's been nobody up here. You can't hear anybody walking away. It's just very strange. After this interesting incident, we were eager to begin our investigation. We split up into different groups and made our way to different sections of the hotel. I'm here in room 27. Not exactly sure if there's any hauntings per se to this specific room. Keep expecting something to be looking over at me. Let's see if we can catch any voices. Is there anybody here with me tonight? Feel free to speak into this device in my hands. Can you tell me your name? Well, I tried to catch EVPs in room 27. Kayla and Rachel had went into the room with the cradle. Kayla sees several orbs, which seem to be flying out of the cradle itself.
I don't see any dust right now, I just see orbs. And don't be afraid to do anything. Like I said, we're just trying to catch you on camera and that's it. Not gonna make you leave the house or anything like that. Just saw an orb.
Jonathan and Nick started going from room to room, hoping to catch either Jefferson or Josephine on film.
Here, come on with me. You do the talking.
Me?
Yeah.
Jefferson, did you just do that whistle? Are you able to whistle for us again?
How long have you been at the hotel? What year did you first check in? After 15 minutes of a relatively quiet EVP session, I met back up with Nick and Jonathan. Kayla and Rachel went to keep an eye on the ball at the top of the staircase.
But if there's any kids that want to play with this blue ball here, you can kick it down the stairs. I don't care if you hit me in the face. It won't hurt that bad. And just have a little fun.
Oh man, no, I'll just take it to the jail and like get deflated or something, got tucked out of there. There's no telling what they did to the weak ones in that prison.
Yeah.
Scary.
What's up?
Was that shirt not white? This is probably completely unrelated. That shirt in there, was it not completely white?
Which one?
The one that was hanging in the closet in there.
You did go back this way, right?
Yeah, we came back this way.
Watch it be white now.
Is that shirt not white?
Yeah?
It didn't have that design on it.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was solid white.
I think it was.
Did we get any video of it?
I don't know. I think maybe. Jonathan, Nick, and I were trying to figure out exactly what was going on with this super cool Michael Jackson shirt when suddenly we heard Kayla and Rachel's terrified screams coming from the third floor.
Coming up. And like, when y'all walked away, I didn't feel like I felt like I was not alone.
I just thought I felt something touch the front of my neck.
Yeah, definitely saw that. There was some kind of a white shadow that just walked through the corridor real fast. Strange things were happening at the Josephine. Kayla and Rachel were trying to get some activity out of the ball when they were suddenly attacked.
You did go back this way, right?
Alright, well, we're gonna come back to this later. And maybe when we come back to it, it can be down the stairs. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, there's a bird.
Oh my God, what?
A bat. There's a bat.
Ah! Let's get out of here.
There's a bat.
Oh God, no!
There's a bat.
There he is.
Just come on down.
Yeah, you're good. He just flew out through the. There.
Nope.
Okay, run, Cam, run.
Oh, he's tagging. Oh, he's on bugger.
Sorry.
Get it away.
The best thing that could happen is you would be back.
Let's throw some rocks up there.
I gotta ask y'all. Come here.
Bats carry diseases.
You would probably remember this.
We decided to make peace with the bat before continuing.
I gotta record you.
Get a good shot of the bat going under my beard.
Yeah. See if we can spot him before we.
I think it just did.
Alright, Bat, we're friends here. We're just here looking for some ghosts. If you could politely point us to the direction of the spirits.
Smell something.
Guano. Why is my light freaking out? It was at this point my light began to malfunction. Despite putting new batteries in it, it still continued to flicker. Yeah, I put these batteries in this flashlight yesterday.
Who's doing that?
Yeah, like I'm not even touching the trigger.
Who did?
But the light is freaking out. These were brand new batteries. After our stint as Batman, we broke out the spirit box to see if we could communicate with any of the spirits around us. Were you trapped here? Yeah. Well, I know I caught it on the camera audio. That was a dude's voice, and it sounded mad or something.
Thank you, Mr. Jefferson.
Get out?
Are you telling us to get out?
Jefferson, is that you?
Do you like what Joyce is doing with the place?
Nice accent you have there.
You like what Joyce is doing? Are you back this way? The bathroom. That was a girl's voice. Is there a female in the bathroom with us? Should we leave? Are you in this room? I guess I didn't hear you. We didn't hear either. Josephine, are you here with us? Close it down. Jefferson, do you want us to leave?
Things started to quiet down soon after, so we decided to make our way to the Confederate Cemetery to see if any of the soldiers buried there still felt as though the war was still raging on. We split up and made our way to different locations in the cemetery.
So we are at the cemetery, and my location is the Confederate statue in the center, pointed towards the Red Door Church.
I'm currently walking up to this set of graves inside this gate here. Gonna walk inside and start a little session. Gate is open. Let's do it to it. Started off with an EVP session, and then we'll move to Spirit Box. Alright, this is Kevin in the Confederate Cemetery inside of the gated area with some tombstones. Let's set our audio recorder on this headstone here. If there's anybody in the cemetery with us tonight, can you please give us a sign of your presence? If you have the power, can you knock that domino over for me? How do you feel about people coming to your grave?
From what I understand, this is a well-known Confederate cemetery for soldiers of the Confederate States of America. As I'm surrounded here, I feel a sort of connection. My family, many members of my family were Confederate soldiers themselves. I've read over a lot of their diary entries, their journals. You know, it gives you a certain perspective into everything that they had to deal with and why they were fighting. I say all that so that I can come to you on a peaceful level, so that you know I don't mean you ill will. I'm literally one of you, connected to you in that way. I come here to this Confederate statue because I feel like this is a centerpiece for the entire cemetery, and I feel that this would be a communal place. If there is anyone around here, can you make your presence known to us?
I decided to use the Spirit Box and roam around the cemetery, hoping to catch some voices on film. Are you buried over here? No? Was this spirit leading me to its grave? It was pretty quiet in the cemetery, save for the voices on the Spirit Box, as well as our microphone only malfunctioning there.
Join our crew as we investigate the Josephine Hotel, the Pauly Jailhouse, and this very Confederate cemetery where we stand now. Who knows? Maybe you'll see one of the many spirits that haunt Union Springs. Join our crew as we investigate the Josephine Hotel, the Pauly Jailhouse, and this very Confederate cemetery we stand now. Who knows? Maybe you'll even see one of the many spirits that haunt Union Springs.
After half an hour, we finally decided to make our way to the Pauly Jailhouse, which Faith had warned us about earlier. Little did we know what our audio recorder was about to capture.
Well, be careful in the jail for a lot of different reasons. Taunting seems to bring on a lot of unnecessary activity in the way of touching and very oppressing feelings, making people sick. There's a lot of darker history that's associated with that building, and you could say it's a little stigmatized because of that. But even not having that information and going into those buildings, we have seen where people are actually still experiencing that type of phenomenon.
Coming up.
I definitely feel like I'm not alone in here.
What was that?
That laughing noise?
Yeah.
I do not know.
As soon as we walked into the jailhouse, there was an eerie silence from within. We split into different groups and began to explore.
We're gonna try and catch some spooks tonight on camera. Is there anyone in here?
Kayla and Rachel remained on the first floor while Nick, Jonathan, and I made our way to the third floor.
Get a good shot of that butt.
They settled down in one of the cells and began to ask questions.
So we would really like to talk to the sheriff, Red. And if you're here with us, can you show us a sign?
It wasn't long before they began to catch several distinct orbs moving in and out of the cell with them, as well as a loud male voice that we never found the source of.
Talk to us. Maybe knock on the wall.
He wants to interact with us. Oh, he's got that orb right behind him. Where'd he go? He wants to interact with us. Oh, he's got that orb right behind him. Where'd he go?
You think you can move the jail door? The cell door? It's pretty heavy. You think you can do it?
While the girls were experiencing this voice that none of us guys heard, we were focusing on trying to make contact on the third floor.
Well, I'd wondered if that one that was made of wood was originally, but...
Yeah. But this one's just kind of off on its own, which... I think if I was in jail, I wouldn't mind being in this one because you get a nice view of the
Yeah.
outside.
And your own sink. Probably yeah, there's a toilet spot over there.
Yeah, at one point.
Maybe this was the kingpin. Well, there's another bed for a bunk.
And I just broke my toe. What you look at here is actually the trap door. And I'm not exactly sure how many people were executed by hanging here, but you just gotta imagine knowing that it's coming. You've got jail cells here where people can just watch you drop, and just seeing somebody you might have made friends with in here just drop and dangle. There's probably some kind of bad energy here.
Some of these cots are really weird looking. People.
That was a minute ago, especially like
Like that one
that
here.
one. Yeah, I thought somebody was laying in there. Eventually, Rachel and Kayla left the jail cell and made their way to the sheriff's desk. It was here that they caught one of the most impressive EVPs we have ever caught.
There's a window right there, but you can't.
Kayla and Rachel had no idea that while they were sitting at the sheriff's desk, they caught this male voice on not only the audio recorder, but the camera's audio as well. You can tell through the accent of the voice, it seems to be saying, "There's a red devil right there, but he can't hurt you." We can only wonder if this phantom voice is referring to Sheriff Red.
Several people have had Red talk to him. And he was the first black sheriff. I think his name is Red Williams. I got something on him I'm going to give you.
Okay.
But he used to be the sheriff, first black sheriff here. And he's talked to him a time or two.
We brought out the spirit box before my isolation session. We also turned on the temperature gauge to see if anything would mess with it. It's very strange because the temperature on the spirit box goes up, but around Nick and myself it feels like it's getting colder. Is that you? Can you speak to us? Or are you not allowed to speak? There's no guards here. You can speak as much as you'd like. You don't have to worry. There's no guards here. You won't get in trouble. Did you die in this jailhouse?
No.
Yes.
Yes?
They said yes.
Did you die for something that wasn't your fault?
How did you die here? Finally, it came time for my isolation session in one of the cells alone in the jailhouse. We used one of the prisoner outfits there, though it wasn't quite what we were expecting. Okay, to add a little bit of reality to the isolation session I'm about to do, they have this costume here, a prisoner. So I'm going to throw that on, and hopefully you guys won't see me running across the street wearing this, and then get tackled by a cop thinking I'm an escape convict.
Because there are two sheriffs right outside the
Two
street.
sheriffs that will tackle me if they see me running out going,
You want me to put you in your cell?
There's some other kind of thing here. I think it might be a little belt.
I want you to be a hat.
But is it a Ziploc bag? That kind of concerns me.
It's a hat.
It's a hat.
Yeah, check that twice.
If you're gonna go all the way.
Don't go to jail though. That's
Yeah,
just.
don't go to jail. It's just not worth it.
And don't go all the way in jail.
Yeah. Whatever you do.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. You don't look like a prisoner at all. You look like a dummy.
You're a
I'm sorry.
Say you're going rob us.
I feel like the pathetic robber.
Where's the hamburgers?
Can you want me to take a picture?
Yes.
Let me get up on that.
And then the knockoff version of Grimace just pops up.
And then now watch that cop like come check.
Tackle to shoot.
If you boys do it in here.
I keep catching my reflection in the window. And I look so dumb.
Alright,
Your reflection is true.
Oh, don't worry.
And your pants are falling down.
Oh my god, the flashlight works perfect. Because it's like
It does. I feel like that should be a card. I feel like that should be a card or something.
After being sentenced to a 30-minute isolation session, I realized that the rest of the crew probably shouldn't take any jobs in law enforcement, and began the session. Okay, this is Kevin alone in the jail cell. They're currently locking me inside, so I'm in the jailhouse alone. And they're not very good cops because they didn't shut the cell door. So I could escape at any moment's notice, but just for the sake of reality. You know, I've heard a lot of stories about this place just being here today. From what I've heard, there's a lot of activity that happens. It wasn't long before several large orbs began to appear on camera. What? If there's anybody in this jailhouse with me tonight, please feel free to give me a sign of your presence. Okay, I definitely saw that. There was some kind of a white shadow that just walked through the corridor real fast. I could see that through the darkness. Are you here with me tonight? Technically, the only way a ghost would actually come to the store would be to point and laugh at me for wearing this outfit. After seeing the white figure wandering the hallways, things unfortunately fell silent within the jailhouse. Nick, Kayla, and Rachel went back to the Josephine to investigate, while Jonathan and I stayed behind at the jailhouse. We were hoping to find the source of the white figure I had seen.
What I would like to see is one of these doors open and close.
Yeah.
Just like,
I did pass by here earlier and felt something from in here.
it's just so dark in here. There's no windows or nothing.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
I think you made the right decision not sitting in that seat.
Yeah. I think it would fall apart. Alright. You stay in here. Let's see if they can open the door. Are you recording?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a lot of energy in this room. If you can open the door, we would like to get it on camera. Please. Is it Mr. Jefferson?
Yeah, Jefferson. Mm-hmm.
Just Jefferson?
Yeah, Jefferson, I forgot his last name.
Jefferson, if you're in here, can you open or close one of these doors?
While Rachel, Kayla, and Nick tried to get activity at the Josephine, Jonathan decided to try a different approach at the jailhouse.
Alright, I'm getting that news.
I'm gonna have calf muscles for days.
Oh, yeah. Alright now. You guys thought I was bluffing, didn't you? Looky here what I got. You guys know what this is, huh? You know what that is? I know one of you know what it is. One of you...
Once again, things were relatively quiet in the jailhouse, save for a strange sound that Jonathan and I heard while Jonathan was using the noose as a provocation tool.
Oh yeah. That's the spot. Which one is going to be in it though? Huh? Is it going to be you? You going to be hanging?
What was that?
That laughing noise?
Yeah.
I do not know.
What was that?
That laughing noise?
Yeah.
I do not know.
To us, it sounds like either a low laughing sound, or possibly somebody clearing their throat on the bottom floor. We made our way back to the Josephine and rode out the rest of the night. The only things that happened the rest of the night were around 4 a.m., when we were all woken up by the sound of a loud crash upstairs, followed by heavy footsteps. Our trip to Union Springs was an adventure that none of us will ever forget. It was amazing to wander the halls of the Josephine Hotel, roam through the darkness of the Confederate Cemetery, and experience isolation in the cells of the Pauly Jailhouse. If you ever find yourself in Union Springs, be sure to swing by these historic sites. If you stay there long enough, maybe you can see why these locations are apart. Of Alabama's most haunted. Paint me like one of your French ladies.
One of the what?
One of your French ladies.
Let me lay on it really fast.
Near the heart of the ocean.
Yes. I'm wearing a diamond.
And, this is for when somebody's blowing it up and you want to sit here and watch.
They'll
I guess.
blow it up?
You get a old reading chair while somebody's going number 2.
They didn't have TV back then. So
Yeah, there wasn't much, they didn't have much entertainment back in the day.
Yeah, alright, prepare yourself for this test now.
I don't have anything.
Alright, now look here, now just
Can you turn that down?
Just let your eyes fall. No,
turn
look,
it
just
off.
son, don't maybe use excessive force. Now let.
Why are you going excessive
Watch
on
this
my
light.
force?
Alright, move you. No, you went the completely
lost
wrong
it.
way. You
Where'd
went
it
the
go?
right way. You were going the left.
Oh, wait, there it is.
You look into the light now. Alright, follow it. Don't move your head. Oh, you moved your. Alright, I'm out to beat you to death now.
Get in the car.
Hey,
I got one of them flashlights
We'll beat you at the jail.